Hi everyone, welcome to our presentation on how to improve your chances of graduation. Today, we will dive into the fascinating world of higher education and explore the key factors that influence a student's success. Our goal is to empower students, educators, and institutions alike with actionable insights to enhance graduation rates, ultimately leading to a brighter future for all. Now, let's begin with an introduction to the context of our project, discussing the target audience and why this topic is utmost important. We started our journey time not very long ago when European higher education was evolved rapidly. We embarked on a mission to explore 17 diverse undergraduate degrees across various fields, spanning from 2008 to 2019. Our target audience, educators, policymakers, researchers, and funding organizations, hold the power to shape the future of higher education and impact countless students' lives. Why all this matters? Well, this success as our students has far-reaching effects, not only in our own lives, but also on the society as a whole. As graduates join the workforce, the society, their achievements contribute to the whole economic growth, social development, and innovation. By understanding the factors influencing student success, we can create a more equitable, accessible education system to each individual's needs. This is in turn will be in skilled, versatile workforce prepared to tackle the challenges of an ever-changing world. Together, let's discover the hidden relationship between various factors and student success. Our aim is to improve funding, allocation, and support strategy for future generations. Along the way, we will uncover surprising connection between funding, scholarship, class schedule, displacement, student drop rates. These insights will pave a way for more informed decision-making and targeted interventions to help students graduate and thrive. The dataset was collected from various sources: officially university record, national education database, social scholarship providers. This together create a more comprehensive picture of the factors affecting student success. We clean the process of our data, removing duplicates, inconsistency, missing values, skewed data, and ensuring we had accurate and reliable information to guide our analysis. There are challenges like finding the most valuable variables, the key variables that affect student success, generate both meaningful as well as statistically powerful results. Also, answer some perspective questions instead of we're always answering some exploratory question what the average drop rate for this subgroups of students. We should be moving on to making decisions on the future, what we should do. There are others like maintaining data privacy. However, we preserve to overcome these challenges, continue exploration throughout data analysis with standardized funding amounts, investigating the impact of daytime and nighttime classes, and data patterns in student displacement. Each step make us moving forward and closer to understanding the secret for student success. During our data preparation process, we do an approach and assumptions. We simplify student outcome into binary format instead of enrollment, graduate, and drop. We're focusing on the drop and graduate. So students are categorized as graduates or drops. We have this enrollment student assumptions because our data shows all the enrolled students already have attended at least 2 semesters. We have their course scores in that 2 semesters. So implying them, they're still active learning and more likely to graduate than drop out. There are advantages like easier interpretation, right? And hence our focusing on the core aspect of success. And we're also more focusing on the drop, right? The unhealthy part. And efficiently analysis using various statistical method, it will move it to binary. And also, there are disadvantages like we overestimate the graduation rate, obviously, right? We put the enrollment into graduate. We lose some of the graduality and potential oversimplification, but we have more statistically power. We don't exclude, which we mean we include the 70.94% of the enrolled student, which is the whole data set like around 20% of the data sets are enrolled students. So we still have those data, we have the more statistical power, and we could strike a balance despite the limitation by the outcome approach and more practical and straightforward, acknowledge all these limitations and considering supplementary analysis ensure a comprehensive understanding of higher education's complex landscape. If we dive deeper into our datasets, we have a robust dataset containing information 4,424 students, 35 features describe various aspects of their lives, and along them there's some demographic data, and there's some social economic data, and there are also some macroeconomic data including academic performances. Along those features, 26 of them are numeric and 9 of them categorical. Our comprehensive dataset allows us to identify patterns, correlation, trends, and may influence student chance of graduating. And as we proceed our presentation, we will dive even deeper into the key findings and demonstrate how this wealth and information can be harnessed to improve the graduation rates and shape the future of higher education.
Since our goal is to increase the number of students that will eventually graduate from a university, we wanted to focus our study on the aspects that we can actually control, like what is the financial support that students will get, or what is the academic schedule of the university. So we first examined the impact of both financial support and the existence of daytime and nighttime classes on the student success. Moreover, we wanted to see if there are some specific subgroups of students that might need our help and attention more than others. On that note, we discovered an interesting pattern. We saw that students who enroll in a program under 25, who are usually considered the traditional students, will graduate from the program with a high probability. However, this is not true for students who are above 25 and they want to go back to the school and continue and start new studies. So we saw that these students will actually drop out with a very high probability. So this motivated us to focus on them and see what we could do to help these students graduate. Our first finding for the subgroup of students who are above 25 was that the time of the classes actually affect the results. We saw that students who have daytime classes is more likely to drop out than students who have evening classes. Actually, the percentage will change by about 20%. This intuitively also makes sense because the older people are, the more responsibilities they have during the day. So the evening might be their only chance to attend a class. So it was interesting to see that the results we got from the data set actually just actually was hand to hand with the intuition that we had on the matter. Our second finding for this group was that students who have a scholarship are almost 2 times more likely to graduate than students without scholarship. This result was actually surprising to us because we didn't imagine that students over 25 would have a problem with tuition. We understood why they had a problem with time because the older you get, the more responsibilities you have during the day. But we actually thought that they are financially more stable than students under 25. So it was surprising to see that a scholarship actually plays an important role in their outcome. After we saw how much impact a scholarship has on this group, we wanted to go a little deeper on the matter and see how a scholarship affects students who are over 25 and are also displaced. Displaced is a feature that tells us if a student studies in their city, where they're from, or they have to go in a different city. And so that increases their expenses. And okay, after our previous finding, it was no surprise to us that a scholarship in this case actually helps a lot. So again, it increases the probability of graduating almost twice, almost 2 times.
As a brief summary of the methods we used to find these results, first we approached our dataset using SHAP values or exploratory data analysis. Specifically, we found the global SHAP values across the dataset for 3 well-fitting models, specifically a random forest, a AdaBoost boosted decision tree, and a logistic regression classifier. These give some notion of the global feature importance of each feature for some well-performing predictive models. SHAP is essentially the average marginal contribution of each feature to the prediction on each sample. So in order to get a global metric of feature importance, we can just take the average SHAP value across all samples for each feature, giving us a rough ranking of each feature for each model. And we use these features that are pulled out as important as a guide for further analysis. So specifically, what you see here are the top 10 most important features according to SHAP for each of the three models I mentioned, sorted in descending order by mean. So what we noticed that was particularly interesting is that across all three models, age at enrollment appeared as one of the top 10 features, and in AdaBoost it appeared as the third most important feature. And we thought this was more interesting than either curricular units second semester approved, or grade, or curricular units first semester, because those variables tell you essentially how well the individual is doing already. So if someone has a good grade, that's almost an outcome in and of itself. So by the time you have a poor grade, it's often too late to intervene. Whereas something like age at enrollment, we can look directly at people who are going to be enrolling, who are older, and see what we can do to help them. Given this broad area of interest, we then looked at the conditional probabilities of graduation based on a variety of different features. So for example, in order to get the analysis of when older individuals should attend class, we first looked at the overall distribution of graduation rate. We then looked at the conditional distribution of graduation rate given that people are over 25, so on the subset of population that's over 25. And we further segmented that down into graduation rate for people who are over 25 and take classes in the evening to find that that subset is more likely to graduate than older people in general. And we also split that to look at the graduation rate for people who are over 25 and displaced to find some of the stuff we discussed earlier.
So, in summary, our actionable features suggest us these ways to help our student success. We can use target funding and scholarships for the older student subgroup to have a higher chance of graduation. As we showed previously, the drop rate can decrease almost 35% for students over 25 from having a scholarship. Then we can also optimize class schedules and encourage the older student subgroup to have later classes, as we saw that having late evening classes greatly decreased the drop rate of older students. Then finally, we suggest to implement future support strategies to address displacement issues by helping displaced students with financial and homesickness problems, with scholarships and a right community in the university. Finally, we can talk about our next steps. So our next steps are to explore more conditional probabilities on other demographic subgroups like displacement, nationality, and maybe like lower age groups. Then, using these conditional probabilities, we'll discover other actionable features to help remedy the drop rates to help students graduate from these subgroups. Thank you.